Seated Buddha in Cave 20 of the Yungan Grottos is one of 51,000 statues in the complex, and is the oldest large-scale Buddhist statue in China. The Yungan Grottos are located in Datong, China. Construction of the statue began in 460 AD and concluded in 465, along with 4 other Buddhist statues in the caves directly next to Cave 20. The seated Buddha in Cave 20 is over 45 feet tall, or roughly 13.7 meters. Although it is now widely accepted amongst historians that the seated Buddha was constructed in 460 AD, there were 2 previous eras believed to have been the true construction date: 414 AD and 453 AD. The year 414 was ruled out due to Buddhism not having much support in China at the time, and the main reason the year 453 is no longer supported is due to Buddhism being persecuted in the year 446. Many Buddhist-related buildings and stupas were destroyed during the period, making it seem counterintuitive to historians that the government would sponsor a grand-scale project in the wake of such persecution. 460 AD has since been concluded to be the true date for the construction of the seated Buddha, with several factors playing a part in proving this to be true. However, the main account has to do with a Buddhist monk being appointed as Shimantong, or monastic overseer, or superintendent, for the Wei dynasty. The monastic overseer, Tanyo, was found to be the person who petitioned the Wei dynasty to allow construction of the seated Buddha and other caves in the Yungan Grottos, and subsequently, construction of the caves began in 460. The 5 caves, including Cave 20, are now referred to by historians as the Tanyo Caves. Aside from the figure's large stature, one of the most striking aspects of the statue is its gaze. Although the entrance to the cave has been lost to time, one can imagine how grandiose it must have felt to enter the cave through its lost entrance, since the statue's eyes are looking directly at where the entrance of the cave once was. The position of the seated Buddha is called the Dhyani Mudra, or meditation mudra, and it is a seated position with the hands in the lap, palms facing up. Although not nearly as large, the seated Buddha is accompanied by an attendant Buddha in the Varada Mudra position, with the right hand extended out and palm face up, and the left hand facing palm out with the hand over the heart. This position signifies charity and compassion. The faces of the Buddhas are detailed yet have soft features, aside from the nose, which is quite sharp. The eyes of the seated Buddha seem more emotional than that of the attendant Buddha. The ears of the Buddhas are depicted as being stretched. This is because during this period in China, stretched ears signified wisdom and compassion. And since the Buddha is considered the compassionate one to many, he is often depicted with them. Both of the Buddhas are depicted wearing robes. These robes are called Gasaya robes. These robes originated in ancient India as a set of robes for the devotees of Siddhartha Gautama, who was the first Buddha, and symbolize simplicity and detachment of materialism. Similar to the cave entrance, it is thought that another attendant Buddha was included on the seated Buddha's left side, but has since been lost to time. There are similar carvings above where the head of the Buddha would have been located. Behind the head of each Buddha is a halo as well as smaller, what is assumed to be sitting Buddhas. These halos are especially interesting because they were reserved for the highest ranking monks and emperors of the dynasty. It is unclear whether or not the sitting figures on the wall behind the Buddhas were depictions of additional Buddhas or bodhisattvas. There is, however, 2 well-defined bodhisattvas at head level of the seated Buddha on each side of the cave. It is important to examine the rest of the Tanyo caves, along with the seated Buddha in Cave 20, since these sculptures were all done in quick succession of each other in the span of 5 years. All of these caves are carved out of the sandstone mountain behind them. Although sandstone is an easy material for artists to work with, it is very susceptible to erosion, as we have seen with Cave 20. Unlike Cave 20, however, the rest of the caves still have an intact cave entrance, leaving the sculptures inside them in much better shape than the seated Buddha. According to John C. Huntington with huntingtonarchive.org, quote, "A very common feature of Chinese Buddhist iconography is the presence in the main image hall of some manifestation of the Buddhas of the 3 time periods, the past, present, and future. This may take a variety of patterns, but would always include one of the Amitabha Buddhas, along with an image of Vairocana, and finally an image of Maitreya." End quote. The theme Huntington explains is also shown to be present in the Tanyo caves as well. Starting with Cave 20 on the farthest left, the cave represents the Buddha of the past, Amitabha. Cave 19 directly to the right of Cave 20 represents the future Buddha, Maitreya. Cave 18 represents Vairocana, the Buddha of the present. Cave 17 represents the Buddha of the future again, Maitreya. And Cave 16 represents the Buddha of the past a second time, Amitabha. Cave 15 and 14 are not considered a part of the Tanyo caves, since they were constructed much later. The Buddha in Cave 19 is depicted in a seated position, with the Buddha representing the Abhaya Mudra, with the right hand raised to the heart or shoulder level, the arm at an angle, and the palm facing outward while the left hand is left loose near the body. Abhaya translates to fearlessness in Sanskrit, and as such, this mudra symbolizes protection, peace, and the dispelling of fear. Similar to Cave 20, there are many smaller statues that resemble Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, and also like Cave 20, it is impossible to be exact about what these carvings depict. There is, however, many more depictions of Bodhisattvas. All of the larger carvings located in the entrance of Cave 19 are representations of Bodhisattvas. Behind the Buddha, there are no carvings in the cave wall, and most of the almost 4,000 small statues in Cave 19 are located near the entrance. Another difference compared to Cave 20 is the height of the statue. The seated Buddha in Cave 19 is 55 feet tall, or 16.8 meters tall. The face and overall detail of the statue is also lacking comparatively, and the eyes of the statue don't seem to be pointed downward at the cave entrance, or seem very lifelike in comparison. Even though the statue is still inside a cave, it is unexpected that there would be less detail in the robe, or even in the facial features. Cave 18 is extremely similar to that of Cave 19, featuring much smaller carvings coating the interior of the main entrance, as well as somewhat larger bodhisattvas. Cave 18 slightly differs from the entranceway of 19, with Cave 18 including a giant window directly above a horizontal column of sandstone, as well as the main entranceway. In terms of detail, Cave 18 is in much better condition to that of 19, and looks very similar to the seated Buddha in Cave 20. The Buddha's robe has kept its fine detail of texture, as well as its facial features. The eyes of the Buddha do not look directly at the doorway, but can be seen more so than that of Cave 19, and are almost as lifelike as Cave 20. The hand gesture depicted on the seated Buddha is called the Karana Mudra, and is the gesture said to fend off evil spirits. Cave 17 has been hit the hardest by erosion, and features little detail in the main seated Buddha. This cave also features thousands of small carvings along the cave wall and entranceway. The detail of the robes has been almost completely eroded away. The eyes, however damaged they may be, can still be seen pointed forward to the cave wall in front of the Buddha. And with no hands left intact, it is impossible to determine which mudra the Buddha might have represented. Unfortunately, with caves 16, 17, and 18, I was unable to find any information regarding the statue heights. There are very few photos of the inside of Cave 16, and as a result, I was unable to determine if there were similar carvings on the interior of the cave wall. However, with photos of the exterior, it appears that there are no carvings on the entranceway like Caves 17 and 18. The seated Buddha in Cave 16 is not nearly as damaged as that of 17, but not as detailed as 20 or 18 are. The eyes of the Buddha are gazing at the cave wall ahead, and the robe of the Buddha is depicted differently. The Buddha in Cave 16 is representing two mudras simultaneously, one of which being the Abhaya Mudra, with the right hand near the heart and the palm facing out, and the other is the Shuni Mudra, which is used to improve alertness, intuition, sensory powers, with the hand at the side and the thumb and the middle finger touching. In conclusion, the Tanyo Caves are collectively an amazing piece of early Buddhist art in China, as well as a symbol of a major turning point in Chinese culture and religion. After the persecution of Buddhism in years prior, the construction of these caves symbolized the unification of Buddhism with the Wei dynasty, and gave legitimacy to Buddhists of northern China.